It's 6 p.m. in Bamenda, 6 p.m. in Douala, 6 p.m. in the far north region, and of course it's 6 p.m. in Yaoundé. Time for the news in the English language on Camdis Television. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a pleasure welcoming you to this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast. Let's begin with our top stories. Many are feared dead in another road accident that occurred in Yaoundé and Douala this Friday, August 13th, 2021. A fraction of the Union de Population du Cameroun UPC party has this Friday held an EXCO meeting who says organizing the party is important than a congress. In prelude to the upcoming African Cup of Nations draws slated for August 17th at the conference center, the general manager of Camtel says all Camtel installations are ready. These and more will be yours in this edition of the news. Stay tuned. Three people are feared dead in an accident that occurred at the Kondenge neighborhood in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé. Report says the accident that occurred concerning a Mercedes car who lost control due to overspeeding crushed three people. Ruth Fonyong has more in the following report.
Shock and consternation this morning at the Mobile Kondengi neighborhood here in Yaoundé as a road accident left three people dead with one on the spot.
The vehicle was on high speeds coming towards me. I escaped and got into a shop. When he missed me, he dodged a car and he was trying to climb on his way, pushed down a woman. He hit four people.
According to this other bike rider, the Mercedes car was on a high speed and he was lucky to escape because while waiting for his customers, he saw the vehicle coming.
I parked my bike and saw the vehicle running towards me. When I saw it coming, I pushed down my bike and escaped. So he picked up the next bike close to me, plus a woman that was walking by and another person behind. The guy on the bike is the person who died on the spot.
Inhabitants of the neighborhood say it is the first time people have died in an accident in this area. After the accident, there was a lot of traffic jam. Lucky enough, and thanks to their professionalism, the elements of the National Police and National Gendarmerie were able to normalize circulation of vehicles and even people.
We now take you over to the littoral region of the country, where the governor of the littoral region, Samuel Dieudonné Ivahadibois, has called on the citizens living in risky areas to quit the area as soon as possible. He was speaking in Douala on August 12 during a visit to the area where heavy rain caused a landslide, taking away the life of couple and leaving many destructions in that part of the country. The following report has an in-depth of this story. The population of some neighborhoods in the Cameroon's economic capital Douala, including Makepe, Sable and PK13, woke up with their feet in water on August 12. These neighborhoods flooded following a ceaseless rain that hit the town on Wednesday at about 3 a.m. and ended on Thursday. At the Bidimo vicinity in the PK13 neighborhood, a couple is said to have lost their lives following the heavy downpour that led to landslide.
We have a deep sorrow with the couple, Zoken, who died today. They are leaving 4 children. And by the grace of God, the 4 children was not at the same room with the parents. The parents were near the place where the earth come and break the wall, but the children was just living aside. So I'm asking people to...
The governor of the littoral region, Samuel Dieudonné Ivahadibois, paid a visit to the scene of the incident where he cautioned the inhabitants on the dangers of building in risky areas.
We came this morning to see how a couple dead because of heavy rains. They have constructed as a place where it was forbidden to be a kind of infrastructure. So I'm asking the people that who are living around this place to quit the place so that they will not be in danger. But those who are remaining there, maybe when they are going to sleep, they cannot see the day after.
Earlier this month, the National Observatory on Climate Change had announced heavy precipitations with high risk of flooding, especially in the northern parts of the country for this month of August.
We now take you to the north region of the country, where the governor of that region, Jean-Abeti Edi, has called on the information technology IT management laureates to follow the footsteps of their trainers to apply every knowledge acquired during their training into practice. He was speaking during a ceremony to award certificates to the laureates in Marua, chief town of North Region. The following report says 1,213 youths underwent the training. Take a listen.
A total of 12,213 young people in Garua, chief town of the North Region, are now experts in information technology IT management. They got trained during a mass IT training in the North Region, a project initiated by Dr. Ismaila Muhammadu. One learning of distance work and teleworking of the medicine, whether talk of training of healings or even online business. According to the IAI resident representative Ahmad Claude Abanda, digital doors are open to young Cameroonians thanks to MINDEF 2033 operation to reduce the digital drive.
I want to thank the mayor who permitted us to learn all what we have acquired, thanks to IAI Cameroon. During this session, we learned the Word and Excel topics. This attestation represents a lot for me.
Chairing the award ceremony, the governor of the North Region, Jean-Abeti Edi, urged the recipients to follow the footsteps of the computer engineers to be competitive in the job market. During the training, I learned many things. Example, I learned how to create a file, create a table. I learned a lot on Excel, how to do report, shell.
Thank the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, during this training. That is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and many others. It will help me a lot in the future.
The young laureates are now set for the job market, ready to apply the skills acquired during the training.
To the ordinary session of the National Committee for Rehabilitation and Socioeconomic Reintegration of Persons Living with Disability was held in Yaoundé from August 11 to 12, 2021 at the CBC Conference Hall. The ceremony, that was chaired by the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irene Kmer, was aimed at improving the living conditions of people living with disability. Ruth Fonyong has an in-depth of this story in the following report.
Disabled but not a beggar. It is with this slogan that Jean-Roger Peto, who has been disabled from the age of 3 and a father of 4 children, has never seen himself more or less than any other person, as unable to walk does not make him indifferent. Due to some circumstances that crippled him till date, this man has never seen begging as an option or a means to earn a living. He is well educated and is able to walk like every normal person.
You can be disabled, but it does not mean all hope is lost. When once you are still breathing, you can do anything.
According to him, everyone is disabled. You might not be physically disabled, but can be mentally disabled. It all depends on how you take your disability not to be a barrier. With his disability, he has worked in so many enterprises as he is an ex-student of Siantu who studied communication. At a certain point in his career, he felt marginalized considering that his bosses regarded his disability as a hindrance to the company's growth. Jean-Roger Peto, however, did not give up on life. He believed that when there is life, there is hope. It is with this determination that he opened up a grocery shop where he makes some savings to be able to feed his family and meet other needs. He believed that anyone in his situation can make it in life.
Communication does not pay enough. That is why at my own level, I decided to set up this small shop where I spend most of my time when I have nothing to do than to be begging like other disabled people are doing.
Disability, therefore, does not stop anyone from setting goals and determined to be successful in every sphere of life. For when there is life, there is hope for brighter days ahead.
We sincerely apologize for the mix-up over there. That was instead Jean Pieto, former host communicator who has proven that he is differently able and not disabled. Worthy of note is that he has overcome all the challenges of disability and has fit himself in the society. At 40, a father of 4, he is a successful businessman. Away from there, let's talk some politics to say that a meeting to discuss the well-being of the Union de Population de Cameroun UPC party took place this morning in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé, with the aim to reorganize a congress for the party. Today's meeting is a sharp contrast of a meeting held 2 weeks ago by another fraction of the UPC party who says organizing the party is much important than organizing a congress. Tabby Clarkson reports.
A faction of the Union de Population du Cameroun, the UPC party, met today in Yaoundé to discuss about the need to organize an extraordinary congress of the party on September 11, 12 and 13, 2021. Balaguer Court, who is the Secretary General of one of the factions, is adamant that it's only the holding of an extraordinary congress that can bring some sanity in the UPC party, which today cannot boast of a council or again a parliamentary seat won through an election. The UPC meeting of the Balaguer faction also saw in attendance the presence of other political parties which have the cause of the UPC party at heart.
The UPC has been known for division and clans, but today we decided to organize this conference to be able to gather all the different segments of the party so that together we can work hand in hand, not to sabotage the works of our founding father. You know, our founding fathers fought for reconciliation, reunification of the country Cameroon that we all benefit today. But because UPC is a party that incarnates the souls of Cameroonians, a party that preaches about nationalism and reunification. We have infiltrators from every part, so they decided to destroy the only party that incarnates the soul of all Cameroonians.
The court Balaguer faction is meeting today, barely 2 weeks after the UPC faction of Honorable Bapo Lipot met to say no to any extraordinary congress of the party in September.
What we refuse to have as a deal with them is to not accept the fact that the strength of our party is militants, and that when we want to talk about the unity of the party, it's not the unity of elites of the party. The first thing that we have to do is to go in the countryside, try to harmonize our structure, organize our structure, and then now have people, militants, coming from those structure well existed to represent them.
The UPC party that was created on the 10th of April 1948 with objective independence and immediate reunification is today living in total division. The question here is, who is to be blamed?
In a world where youth are targeted economically, socially and culturally, it is essential for the government of Cameroon to integrate these youth in the development process of the country. This will empower them and make them self-employed and to step up responsibilities in the society, as Geraldine Nasser tells us in the following report.
To support Cameroonian youth in economic and social integration, the Cameroonian government spares no effort. It is for this reason that several actions have been carried out and will continue in order to support these youth to be integrated in full development.
We are satisfied of that deployment of youth activities under the leadership of the Cameroon National Youth Council, and along the week they organize webinars, the hangouts and so on to exchange around their experiences, to share their experiences, to be inspired by their models through the initiative, the Cameroon, the Youth Connect Cameroon initiative. This was very important. I'm sure that all the youth who participated in those webinars and hangouts were well informed, because, as you know, during this mandate of great opportunity of the head of state, there are many opportunities over to young people by the government and its partners. So that's why it's important for young people to be well informed.
It is equally for the same reasons that the President, His Excellency Paul Biya, on February 10, 2016, prescribed the biannual special youth plan endowed with a global envelope of 102 billion. It is a process that aims to support 1.5 million young Cameroonians in Cameroon at the rate of 500 young people, which the results are visible.
First of all, it's a word of encouragement and congratulations, because when we see those young people deploying their activities along the week of celebration, it shows the creativity and dynamism of Cameroonian youth. So we are satisfied and assured that the Cameroonian youth is capable of transforming food system here in Cameroon to improve the human health and even protect our planet. So that's why we are there to accompany them. You have seen they are assembled here in the Reunification Monument to show that creativity and in all domains.
This reflects the importance given to self-employment in the professional career of young people, an innovation that was made, such as the biometric card that was made available to the youth. The government of Cameroon, therefore, intends to support Cameroonian youth who are the spearheads of the nation in order to build a strong and serene nation sheltered from discrepancy.
And on to this human interest story, Camille Kabongo will this Friday present his first album to his audience. Meanwhile, Coco Agente will be celebrating her birthday alongside the life of DJ Arafat, who quitted the scene some years ago. Our very guest will be at the club this evening to spice it up. Ruth Fonya.
To the presentation of his first album in a private showcase on 100% Live, Camille Kabongo will this Friday, August 13th, 2021 at Carrefour Vogby, precisely in Quartier Mozart, will be having a showcase of his first musical works. During this event, the audience will have an opportunity to savor his first songs. Some other artists of different calibers have been invited to spice up the event. Coco Agente, this Friday, August 13th, will be celebrating her birthday at the Sansa nightclub as from 10 p.m. This birthday will see the celebration of the life of DJ Arafat, the Ivorian artist who disappeared some years ago. These twin events will have the presence and full participation of Avero Jazz, the author of Nyama. Suzy Lentouchab celebrates her 25 years of musical careers this Saturday, August 14th at Carousel, the Temple of Culture. She invites all music lovers to join her celebrate her music circle with her. Featuring are some artists of different musical genres. Let's conclude this cultural agenda with Sunday Assumption, which will take place on Sunday, August 14th at the Pons Cabaret live dancing as from 8 p.m. with guests La Belle, Le Doux Marcelin, Le Patriarche, and Serge Etundi. These are programs not to miss in order to make our weekends exciting. See you next week with more news on our culture page.
And if you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. newscast on Camday's television in the English language. In sport, 4 days to the draws of the African Cup of Nations 2021, the general manager of Camtel, Judith Yane Achidi, came visiting the conference center to make sure that all Camtel installations are intact. The football jamboree will bring together 24 nations in Africa. Tabby Clarkson in the following report says it was a happy general manager of Camtel who left the conference center this Friday, August 13, 2021. His report.
The Cameroon Telecommunications Camtel is where there is action. This is how the general manager of Camtel, Judith Yasonde Epous Achidi, this Friday came visiting the Yaoundé Conference Center, a center which will host the draws of the 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations on August the 17th. Accompanied by Camtel technicians and the general manager of the Yaoundé Conference Center, Christophe Mienzok, Madame Achidi visited the various halls where the Camtel Wi-Fi is installed. The African Cup of Nations or the AFCON draws will be live on the CRTV. No doubt, she also visited CRTV technicians equally where Camtel installations are placed. After visiting the installations, Madame Achidi expressed her gratitude, saying that 4 days to the event, all is set as to what concerns Camtel.
The CAN, is an important activity for our nation, and as the historic operator, we are in charge of providing communication services. So our teams had to work very hard to make sure that we bring the services in the space of 2 weeks here in Palais des Congrès, and we did work very, very hard. And I seized this opportunity to thank the general manager of Palais des Congrès, who made things very easy for our staff to work day and night to make sure that this all happened. So we are very, very satisfied with what our team has done, and whatever is needed by the FIFA and the CAF.
The draws of the AFCON will witness 650 participants, with 350 coming from abroad.
I can say that we are just as the midfield player, not the playmaker. I think that today it is the general manager of Camtel who is the playmaker. We are there to help her to score the best goals for this event. That's our job today.
Preparations for the draws are heating up, and Camtel says communication will be perfect on the D-Day.
And we now take you out of the country to say that at least 14 soldiers are injured, over 17 civilians dead in Algeria, as 100 fires are recorded in the 17 provinces in that country. The president has promised up to 30 years imprisonment and possible life imprisonment to those found guilty of the act. Ruth Fonyong has more in the following report, plus other recent happenings in Africa. Take a listen.
More than 100 fires have been reported across 17 Algerian provinces. The most intense fires are raging in the forested hills of the Kabylie region, east of the capital Algiers. President Abdelmadjid Tebboune sent his condolences to the families of soldiers killed as they worked to rescue people in the areas of Badjea and Tizi Ouzou. At least another 14 soldiers were injured to varying degrees. 17 civilians died in the Tizi Ouzou and Sétif area. The Interior Minister suspects some of the fires were started deliberately, saying 50 fires starting at the same time is impossible. These fires are of criminal origin. Last month, President Tebboune ordered a bill to stiffen punishments for starting a forest fire with sentences of up to 30 years in prison and possible life imprisonment. With a devastating second COVID wave ebbing amid an accelerated vaccination drive and easing restrictions, India is nonetheless preparing for a third wave. Business activity is nearly back to pre-pandemic levels as it had been just before the second wave hit in March. Slow vaccination is a problem that will encourage the development of more variants, and also the third wave may hit the country than the rest of the developed world. The government aims to vaccinate all Indians by the end of this year, but the drive has been hobbled by slow-paced shortage of doses and vaccine hesitancy. India is the third in the world to record officially more than 400,000 deaths behind the US and Brazil. However, economists at the Center for Global Development have estimated 3.4 million and 4.7 million excess deaths in India during the pandemic, though not all may be directly due to COVID-19. Zambians picked their next president this Thursday to choose whether to re-elect President Edgar Lungu, who has enacted questionable economic policies and cracked down on opposition leaders and dissenters. Writing in arguments, Simutanyi says that violence carried out against opposition by ruling party with the complicity of police is one issue. Another is the fact that opposition leaders have not been allowed to campaign through selective application of the Public Order Act, which dates from colonial era.
That international roundup page takes us to this edition, to the end of this edition of the news. But before we part companies, we remind you of our top stories. Many are feared dead in another road accidents that occurred in Yaoundé and Douala this Friday, August 30th, 2021. A faction of the Union de Population du Cameroun UPC party has this Friday held an ESCO meeting in a bid to reorganize the party. In prelude to the upcoming African Cup of Nations draw slated for August 17th at the conference center, the general manager of Kmer says all Kmer installations are set. And it is here that the curtain draws for this last edition of the English newscast for this week on Kamdis television. Meet Claude Mayo at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. As I take a weekend break to be back on Monday, do have a wonderful weekend in the company of our programs. Happy weekend.